Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Week in Hospitality Marketing, live show number 473. I am your host, Lauren Gray. Thank you so much for joining us live. And if you're watching us on a restream, Facebook pages, LinkedIn, YouTube channels, we are no longer on X simply because, well, not to be political, it's a crap platform. And we've since migrated all of our followers on X over to our other channels, which they were happy to do. It seems that X is on a death spiral. But anyways, I digress to politics. To anywho, thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching us on Twitch, which is amazing that I had a person reach out to me this past week indicating that they do indeed watch us on Twitch because they notice that I do mention it from time to time. And of course, our ever-present TV channel, the Hospitality Channel, which you can locate on your Roku TV, Amazon TV, Google TV, Apple TV, and LG, Samsung, any smart TV. Just look for the Hospitality Channel, add it to your channel list, and our show is always on the free side of the pay gateway for it. Thank you so much for joining us. Today's topic of discussion got changed radically literally this morning. I was going to have a riveting conversation of simulations and modeling and preparing for future contingencies. And I know that sounds really sexy. And yes, we will have some form of that discussion in the coming shows ahead. But instead, I dumped that for pretty much topically driven stuff today. I had noticed that in the news, it has become more of a present feature of variations of our relationship with our guests as to how they engage with our hotels and resorts. And to that reason, today's topic is daycations, staycations, Bleasure, the changing relationships of hospitality. I would like to quantify by saying hotels and resorts, but it actually has had a ripple effect beyond just our hotels and resorts. It has a very strong effect in our restaurant operations as well, our bar operations as well, our spa operations, our golf, our pools, and so forth. It has had more than just it only is something that can be done with hotels and resorts, more specifically resorts. And I'll get to a little bit of the particular points to that in just a second. But I was watching the Today Show this morning, and they did a bit coverage on it as to the value of it. And they really amped up I love this kind of process. We all know in the industry, we've been doing this for a while. We have offered some type of variation of access to our facilities over the generations, but we've really not done it as a highlight. We've always seen it as a necessary evil. Our perspective of what we did it for was based on need rather than the desire to fulfill an unsatisfied demand. And I say this in the sense that we allow our spa, if you have a spa at your resort, to have outside guests. It's for sustainability. 2 shows ago, I talked very strongly about the need for independence and localization of your restaurants. And of course, wanting people from the immediate area to share in your facilities so as to not to sole burden your resort with the responsibility of maintaining an outlet operation as an outlet, but rather allow it to exist as a local restaurant affiliated with your hotel, with prioritization to your guests as need be. We had those discussions, and we had the discussions about the need for guests to feel like they're a part of the local culture by having local engagement with your properties to the point of not displacing your guests' access to it. We had that discussion. That's usually a first pushback from ownerships of resorts and so forth is, how do I stave off locals from pushing out my guests, where it's no longer a welcoming place for them to come down to a restaurant that's packed with people with no tables available, or a bar that's crowded with people that are belittling or demeaning the fact that they have tourists next to them. There is a fine finesse of culture that goes along with that. And I have some clients that do it exceptionally well because of the culture of their product, and I have others that are struggling with identifying what it is that they feel is a equitable combination. These are realities to the world we live in with our hospitality operations. Our ability to be an island unto ourselves and inclusive of just ourselves have gone once the internet became what it is today. Before the internet, as most people will bemoan in the history of people old enough to have lived through the transition, is that we could control the message before the internet. We could tell the people what they needed to know, and most of it was about us and less about what was around us. And so we were able to retain them in the hotel and resort more. Don't tell them about the bar down the road or the restaurant down the road or the facilities down the road or the spa down the road. We want to tell you about our restaurant, our bar, our facilities, our spa. Those days have gone when the fact that people are now able to do the research of discovery and education on their own. And we've talked about the marketing advantages of us interjecting ourselves to augment the value of what they're learning under the tone of how we present it. So that we become an authoritative source for expanding their awareness of everything around us, to reaffirm their relationship with us, that everything is centric because of their location choice of us and all the cool stuff around us. It's a value proposition in our marketing strategy compared to a deterrent perspective that we had just 20 years ago, or 15 years ago, 17 years ago, where we didn't want to disclose what was around us for fear that we would lose them to something else. I think I did a pretty good job of summarizing that in 2 minutes. Anyways, so here we are, Daycations, which was today's topic on the Today Show, as to the value proposition of platforms that are emerging, called Resort Pass and things like this that they were showing. And when you look at the scale of their engagement, it's very small, but they derived a unique feature of gaining attention from what they're doing. They said they had around 1,600 properties they were engaged with, primarily in Miami, Phoenix, and New York, and so forth. And there was an affordability. They said that 74% or 77% of their total inventory availability was under $65 per person per day. And you're sitting there going, well, what does that include, and so forth? And everything's different. But let's just break down what they're selling. First off, anybody that has been with the industry and been in a role of responsibility of making these decisions as to what and to any extent if the resort were to offer any of these things, is kind of shaking their head going, we've always done this. Yes, but we didn't do this. Remember the old UPS commercial or FedEx commercial? Anyways, we've been saying this for a while. We just haven't truly taken advantage of what it means to do it. We've always, for some resorts in areas that they're close enough, they're not isolated, all-inclusive resorts. These are exclusions to this because you are literally keeping them within the structure of your offerings. These are resorts that are in areas that have other things that they're applicable to do and a community around them to do it. What you're offering by things like Daycations is the fact that I don't have to stay at your property to pay for the benefit of the amenities that your property offers. Now, this is a fine balance, a little bit like how you sell hotel rooms. How many of these people do you allow to use your facility on any given day? How do you mitigate that? It's one thing to sell a day pass when they're at the front desk and you know that there's space at the pool. It's another thing for somebody to buy a day pass and decide what day they come to your property, usually a day that you already are quite busy, to either be turned away because you have too much business around the facilities, or that they which really irritates them for what they paid for and what they're expected, or to allow them in and create a cramped situation that now your resort guests, who you probably charge your own fees to have the access to these things, even though they should be entitled to them already. Another topic, another story. That they're not getting the true great experience because they're going down to the pool and it looks like a public community pool full of people that aren't staying at the hotel. And they feel slighted that this is what they're paying to have, and yet they have to share with people that haven't done what they've done. Kind of the old adage of being on an airplane, sitting next to somebody that paid a quarter of what you paid, sitting, well, why do they have to pay less than me to be on the same plane? We're going to the same place and literally in the same way. So why did I have to pay 4 times as much? Opportunity and value. Another story, revenue management, right? The idea is you have to figure out, before you make this a scalable inclusion to your program, what are the fences and the barriers? What are the terms of the relationships for those that you're wanting to enjoy their benefit of them giving you money to have access to something that you already have and are paying for to operate, compared to the negativity of that same said usage for those that are paying a larger scale of relationship with you by staying at the hotel. These are things that can get answered. There are people, we do this with one of our clients, two of our clients. And there are other organizations, and there's programs like Resort Pass that will put their implied control systems in with you. I would say with those things, you have to inherit what they are allowing because they're already selling the product, and you have to comply with what they're selling compared to you creating your own. This opens up a new world of opportunity for multi-property ownerships, especially if the multi-property ownerships have relatable products. It's hard to sell a pass of amenities to one place that can be usable in other places if the other place doesn't have the scale of value that the first place does. And also, the idea of what you're trying to do with this. Obviously, the first idea of um, looking at these opportunities is the ancillary revenue that it can create. Your pool is maintained whether there's 100 people in it or nobody in it. You have to keep it cleaned and pristine. To that being said, you want it to be pleasant and inviting, not overwhelmed and crowded. So you have to define numbers that you may not have normally had before. You have to define your capacity ratios of the product itself. You've seen, and probably already have, if you're in the space of doing this, that there was a cabana craze for a while, where more and more pools or areas surrounding outdoor activities included a retail value of the cabanas. And for a place that may not have had them before, there was a ramp up period that was painfully costly. And that was, you're telling me as a hotel guest that that cabana at the pool that you say I can go to, I can't use because I have to pay more for it, even though it's all of them are empty because nobody's paying you for it. Why can't I just enjoy it? Can you give me a discount or whatever? Like, and these are questions you have to answer because you're adding cost. It's kind of like going in and buying a car. And then when you go to pick it up and you can't leave with it because there's no wheels, and they say, oh, you wanted wheels with that. That's what the cabanas looked like when you first started them. Like, oh, wait a minute. You had all these amenities. I saw these beautiful cabanas saying, oh, honey, we're going to be able to go and jump in a cabana. And then only to find out that, no, I got to pay this much more to get the cabana. And then the inversion happened. They thought they were going to use a cabana because they were hotel guests, only to find out that none were available because guess what? Everybody and their brothers already rented them because they're so popular. And now they're frustrated because this was a component of their planning that they somehow missed that they should have pre-booked. Spas have the same problem. Spas are a wonderful sell value to your resort, your destination, and people feel that the resort is at their beck and call. And then they get to the property, and at the front desk, they get, they said, well, we need to do a spa treatment tomorrow at 2:00. They've already decided what, and it's terrible for the front desk to have, so I'm sorry, but the spa has no availability at 2:00 or any o'clock tomorrow. You should have booked that when you booked the room so that you could select the time if it was available and the situation and so forth and so on. And there's recoverabilities to that. I had a QR code that popped up in a changing picture frame, digital picture frame, that said, scan this if you are looking to book a spa appointment, and we'll let you know if there's any cancellations and availabilities, and you're in queue for that as to how you sign up. And we'll tell you if you're in the queue for it. You're number 5 of 10 or you're number 5 or whatever. Or that we just put you on the list, and they would go down the list. If there's a cancellation, we start going down the list of people that had said that they would like to take advantage of any cancellations. So there's recoveries to these things, but you can't educate everybody. There will always be that person that didn't know, didn't see, didn't understand, and you need to take care of those. Same too with the Daycation components is that you need to make sure the guests of your resort and hotel are aware that you have these capabilities, that you are letting locals hit your bar, that you're letting people make reservations locally to your restaurants, that you are having cabanas that are rentable to beyond those that are staying at the resort, that you have pool chairs, beach chairs, facility accesses, okay, that are beyond just the hotel guests. Now, there's 2 ways to look at this. If you tout yourself in the exclusivity of what you are, it's hard to sell the fact that you're sharing that experience. If you tout yourself into the community of what you are, the culture of what you are, the being there aspect, it's all about marketing message, then it's an easier sell because people understand that they're choosing to come to you because you're in paradise or you're in whatever you're doing, whatever your value is, you're on the side of the mountain or whatever, in the ski season and all. And that other people want to do that as well. It's okay. Matter of fact, it's fun to meet people. That's the joy. You don't want to be, and this goes to photography as well. So I'm going off on different tangents on these things. When you take pictures of empty pools with just the family in it or the couple in it, that's an unrealistic expectation that you're creating. Nobody has the pool to themselves. And if they do, your revenue manager and marketing team are doing a terrible job. The pool is supposed to be used. The amenities are supposed to be busy. The beach is supposed to have people on it. That isolated walk of a family on the beach, as picturesque as it may look and as alluring as it may be that you're going to have this pristine beach to yourself whenever you so choose it, is unrealistic. And what we've done is we've taught people to not trust us because we put that kind of visualization out in front of them. They know they won't get that. And for those that are thinking that they do, their disappointment, it creates issues for you because they become very vocal about their disappointment because they you sold them something that was unrealistic expectation. These all play together in what we're talking about when it comes to daycations, staycations, Bleasure, and so forth. We're talking about the progressive relationship building with our guests. The days of thinking that as a resort or as a hotel, it starts from the entrance of the doorway into your front desk, and then now they are exclusively everything about what you have is at their beck and call. You want them to feel that, but there's the reality of collaboration. One, they're not the only hotel guest. Two, they may not be the only participants in using the services that you have to offer. But one thing should always stand out in your relationship with those that choose to stay with you compared to those that are enjoying the services you provide, other than the hotel, is the prioritization that you give them. It is a critical component. It's not that you will kick somebody out of a table to seat them. It's not that you will keep a section necessary completely closed just in the potential of a resort person getting to you, although that might be a reasonability if that's necessary. It's the fact that you will always pay riveted attention to them in what their requests are. If there is no space at your spa, then it's a priority to find them one. If there's no space at your restaurant, then it's a priority to get them one. If there's no space at the pool beach chairs, it's a priority to put them in them. These things, okay, are a part of the condition that you create in your daycation packages and so forth. This might be a yieldability of how many daycation passes are allowed per day. Now, people do understand that a pool can only be so big. So if you grabbed 5 or 6 of your friends and you bought daycation passes and you thought you were going to show up at a pool on the busiest day, a Labor Day weekend or something, and you get there and the pool is already packed and you're being told, unfortunately, there is no space for you, and you start waving the fact that you already paid for this stuff and so forth and so on, there should be something you can refer to that says, guys, based on availability of how many daycation packet paid people were allowed into given that day, you know, and you don't have to get into the super particulars that our hotel and resort guests have priority over such and such. It's a matter of then on the other side of your conversation, since you're charging a separate component to people to enjoy these things, is for those at your resort to indicate that they're going to want to use the facilities. Okay. That they, it's like, hey, look, this is Labor Day weekend, they're at their front desk. Will you be enjoying our pool this weekend? Yes. Oh, really? Well, that'd be great if you could tell us if you plan on doing it tomorrow or something. You could obviously change your mind. We're not saying that once done and it's in stone, but to ensure that you get the best experience with us possible, we want to make sure that that there's space for you. Okay, you're not dedicating a chair for them, but maybe you are. Maybe you're going to make a reserve for a couple of chairs for them. What we can do is we can put you in these chairs by the pool. I'll reserve them for, what do you think you're going to come down? 11:30. Okay, at 11 o'clock, we'll hold these chairs. If you don't make it down by 12:30, then you change your plans. No problem. 12:30, we'll release the chairs. The logistics associated with running these kind of things means it's smoother for both sides of the organization that would be facilitating this. That means that your Daycation users, okay, learn, because you're teaching them the benefits of this, that they can choose, they can call. And it's like, hey, I want to bring 4 people on Daycation. I'm buying Daycation passes for tomorrow. I have Daycation. I want to make reservations for tomorrow. And the person, just like a restaurant reservation list, just like a hotel rooms list, looks through and sees, it's like, well, I can't put you all together. Maybe a problem for you. I do have a cabana, but that's an upsell. I do have 2 chairs available at the time you're thinking about, 11 o'clock. I can put you in there. Other chairs might open up because we'll some of our guests that are already reserved, if they don't make it down by noon, we'll have another 10 chairs available. So, we can try to put you as a wait list for that. Okay. And make it where either they call ahead with a short enough window that, okay, well, you have to be here in with 30 minutes to be able to get the chair, or we lose it, just like you do reservations at restaurants. It's the integration of the function that is more important than it is the concern of whether it's just an either or option of doing these kind of things. Staycations, you're dealing with a local product that's using your local hotel. Rather than try to be at home and try to relax, they may want to pay for and stay with you. Staycation is a step above Daycation. where they stay at your resort so that they are at firsthand doorstep of your amenities. I'm going to stay at the hotel, which is in my own destination, in my own city, so to speak, or in my own town or in my own place, simply because I want to not be at home. And I want to feel like I'm on a little quasi getaway. And I want to be able to wake up in a beautiful room and literally put on my bathing suit and go down to a pool that I don't have at home, or a spa that I certainly don't have at home, or a restaurant that has great food that I don't want to feel like cooking at home. And I want to enjoy this. And then when I'm done, it's a fun throw it into the car and go home 3 blocks away if you have to just go home. That staycation perspective is a progression of daycations. Bleasure. Bleasure is a term that we did with business and leisure travel, where I traveled because I had to for work. And while I'm there on the company dime, maybe, or the fact that I can take some time in addition to um, me being already there for work to discover where I'm at. Take an extra day or two. There was a fantastic, and you've heard me say this for those who listen to the show for over the years. We're in our 11th year, by the way, which is, and we've had the show every week. We've never missed a week. I'm very proud of that. And it's fun to be able to say that, and fun to be able to say that we have a TV channel that we have this on, and we're in 209 countries and everything else. But anyways, so Bleasure is one of those things where a magazine that used to be back when magazines were in airplanes, there was 36 hours in. And it was a fascinating article that I patterned a lot of my marketing strategies off of back in the day. This is how far back it goes, where it was in about these famous places that you may be traveling to, and it's 36 hours in, and it had different categories of the travel experience, whether it was off the beaten path, cultural, soft adventure, culinary, whatever. And it gave a mock itinerary of the things you should do based on the time you had available. If you were only available for an afternoon before you had to catch your evening flight, go to this restaurant or go see this museum or something, depending upon the category of interest that you had. And it's a pattern of what you can do for your Bleasure marketing is depending upon the time that they have with you, whether they're spending an extra day, extra 2 days before or after, okay, racking it up, whether they're having family join them where they got there and they're on the company dime, and the company's going to fly them back, but it doesn't have to be the exact date at the end of the day. And they have an extra weekend to add on to it, an extra day before they fly out or whatever. And they have their family join them. Then you have these categories of interest that these people will be wanting to do. Some of that is in relationship to just being at your resort or at your hotel. Maybe the reason why they chose you compared to a competitor was because while they're and being there, they got a good rate or whatever, is the family can join them and then take advantage of the location that they're in. So kind of hey, honey, look where I've been staying. And, why don't you hit that spa that we already have a scheduled appointment for you for, and then we'll hit the pool afterwards. And That is a Bleasure vacation or a Bleasure trip. Okay. This is the changing scope of our relationships. These are not new things. I'm not saying ta-da, as of today, there's a new Bleasure category. And ta-da, today there's a new Daycation, or ta-da, today there's a new Staycation. These are terms that have been floating with us for years. It's been around for years. Even the Resort Pass said that historically they've been doing this for 8 years or something. It's just now getting into higher popularity as people are looking at different stages of the ability to travel. And it's financially based. We have many discussions about the financial viability of travel and the historical travel of twice a year, 10% of your total gross income, all that kind of conversation that we've had, break down to the 4 categories of cost: accommodations, the transportation expense, the entertainment expense, and the food and beverage expenses. The 4 categories that are normally related to travel experiences or travel costs are all integral parts of why we see this fragmentation of relationships with our resorts and our hotels, because these are step in different ways of relationships with our guests. They may be locals on a staycation just to get out of the house and they know we're a great resort, or maybe they have some family coming down and they thought it'd be kind of a fun adventure that the family's done everything. And rather than having them, over on top of each other at home, that they stay at the resort and you join them. And you get a daycation pass, and they have a stay at the resort, and you can be together and enjoy all the amenities. Okay. That kind of thing. Maybe it's the fact that you want to have a fun family experience, not at home, for lack of space or reasons or whatever. You want a pool that everybody can go to and stuff. So you all go to, they stay at your house to sleep, but everybody piles together and goes for a daycation pass at your resort to have a place in pool and spa and restaurants and everything else that you have to offer as value, all in one place. Could be that. The concept of all of this is to integrate it into your marketing strategy. Not just as, oh, wow, we're having a slow period. Well, why don't we see if anybody locally wants to buy a pool pass? That lateness to the game is never going to yield the result of value, because with it not being fully thought out, you may have created a problem for yourself that people bought them for what you would hope they would use them for, but didn't. And they come back at a time that you didn't need them nor want them to be there, and then waving them to you that you have to honor because you didn't close the loop on what this program actually does and how it operates and how it's being used and the margins of relationships and so forth. And now you're stuck overcrowding your pool because you didn't have it properly set up. That late to the game strategies is what crushes the true benefit of these programs, because they create the problems that's like, see, I told you we shouldn't have done this stuff. This is a stupid idea. I don't know why. And you go off on this whole tangent and you lose an opportunity that it could have been, simply because of a lack of clarity of what you should have created it for. So this is the things that you do first. Build it first. Build the structure to it first. Learn best practices first. Learn the how we would do this first. Okay. It doesn't have to be an all the time thing. Just talk to Starbucks about their pumpkin spice. It could be a feature thing. It could be this is the time of year we offer them. And then if you don't get it, then you don't have them. And then you can make a value proposition, just like gift cards that say on an off time is like, hey, for everybody that bought a Daycation pass, we'll double it up for you. So if you bought a 5-day pass, we'll give you 3 free days if you cash in 2 of your days or 1 of your days. Use it once, and we'll give you 2 more extra days or 3 extra days, and have them come in at an off time so that your restaurant can get busy, that your bar can be busy. Not, it depends if you already have them open up to locals. That's a little self-defeating because you don't make people pay to be able to come to your bar. But for those places that have that barrier that you can't go to the restaurants or the bar because of the exclusivity of the resort, that's when you can make that functionality. Or beach chairs. Hey, use your Daycation pass to use our beach chairs. It's off season. It's not that busy, but our location is pristine. And rather than not have the access to what we have, use your Daycation, pop on our beach chair, okay, and get service from us. And we'll give you a value proposition of a discount of food or discount of beverage. There's so many ways to play this. There's so many ways to amplify the value of the programs. I wouldn't say it's limitless because that's an over exaggeration, but it is very diverse as to what you can do with that. All of this has a deeper value to this that I don't want to miss in our discussion from this program. And that is a better progressive relationship building with our guests. And what I mean by progressive relationship building, we approach all of our guests from an all or nothing perspective of purchase or no purchase. Did they buy a stay with us or didn't they? And we categorize them immediately into those two. If they got a room with us, they are inclusively purchased with us, and this becomes a dialogue at that level. If they didn't buy from us, then it's our incessant pursuit of converting those people. Well, what can we do about capturing those people? We talk about workflows. Okay, if they didn't engage with us, how can we recraft the communication to see if there's an opportunity to engage more people that didn't engage with us because we changed the messaging, and even then change the channel, and even then change the frequency of our communication, even then change the value of our relation, of our potential. There's so many ways that I show you about creating workflows into that process. The idea of the space in between, they didn't buy a full where they're staying with us thing, but we have a local engagement for a Daycation. And I say local with a kind of an asterisk beside it, because if you're going to a destination and you didn't book at the resort, your resort, for whatever reason, maybe it's too pricey to stay with you. Okay. Maybe this isn't the type of trip that they could flip that kind of money for, but they're staying in your market and they're going to have some of their own free time and or other purpose of travel in which your amenities are more of a value to them than the cost of getting a hotel room to have access to those amenities. They might buy a Daycation offer you have so that when they're there, and I'm not trying to dramatize this, but we'll go to an extreme perspective, they stay at the Motel 6, but they pack their day bag and go over to you and plop into go to your spa and then plop over by your pool because it's such a nice place. So they got to be in your market, spend less over at this hotel to stay, but enjoy the amenities of your hotel. You have to be careful about the dilution of your demand, but that wasn't a demand you're going to get anyway. That isn't a rate that they were willing to pay, but you got a value from them coming to your market anyway because you were able to sell them if they weren't going to stay at your hotel and resort at least they went over and paid you to have access to your amenities. So there's value to you and there's value to the Motel 6 that they stayed, which is a marketing play for them. They might go over and actually highlight that you have these passes. So even though they don't have the pristinely large, massively super cool pool and everything else and restaurants and everything else, they happen to be close enough that if you were to get their hotel rooms and give you access to be able to buy a Daycation pass at your resort, interesting both worlds. There could be a symbiotic relationship that could be developed from all of that. That also goes to other marketing strategies of collaborating with your local restaurants and local spas, if you don't have any, and create a daycation package for your business where you don't have the amenities to offer. You have a hotel, it's a full service hotel, it's a nice hotel, but you don't have a spa. You don't have a golf course. You don't have whatever. So you go to those places that may be in proximity to you. Go to the spa that you feel you can develop, or go to a spa that will develop a relationship with you, and talk about what it could be if you were to take what they would offer and what would be a cost relationship for that. And you go to a golf course or whatever you feel is in, and you build a Daycation, Staycation, Bleasure, you can label it any way you want to, a destination transient traveler that comes and stays at your hotel. And because you don't have all these amenities, you are at the rate that you are, okay, but you're offering them a package that says, hey, look, if you buy this package, it's $150, $100, $80, $60, whatever it is, and the cost of it gets broken down to the amenities that you have inclusive of it. That it gives you that the spa gives you 50% off whatever they offer or something, because you can't cover for that a spa treatment, but you can. Just like the Daycation passes, it gives you access to be able to use those facilities. And so you have to offer a discount. Instead of having the benefit of just getting the access and you pay whatever rates they're paying and the typical Daycation pass, you instead go over and give a massive discount for the Daycation's business. And the spa gets some business, okay? And they get the discounted value that they're offering for what they have at the Daycation participation. I mean, they used to be called the book. Remember, you have to have the book discounts and so forth for trying in your area. Create your own package for it. Restaurants, you get 2-for-1s or whatever. You create your own Daycation pass that you can sell to your guests at your hotel that you don't even have the amenities for. This is how rampantly different the opportunities exist with this concept. As they sell the Daycation concept in its current form of go to a resort without having to stay at the resort and enjoy the amenities, you can morph that into other aspects that can benefit you based at where you are in your market and how you are. But again, going back to, and I keep trying to get to this point, is the value of doing all this. It's not just the revenue potential that it in itself can generate. It's the growth of the relationships that you are generating from it. One is the local connection. People locally being able to enjoy your resort. People often say, oh, it's a beautiful resort, but I ain't going to stay there just to go to the pool. You have an answer for that now. The other is that, man, I like to just chill. But again, I don't want to have to stay at the resort to use the pool. How about if I just buy a day pass? I'll come home and crash, but let me enjoy the beach over there. Grab a nice chair. The beaches are wonderful. You can get an Uber over, so it's not even driving your car, so you don't have to worry about trying to find parking, which is a mess. And you don't have to lug all your stuff that you have to bring to the beach to prop up an umbrella and chair and everything else and find a spot. And, no matter where you find a spot, stuff grows up around you. And next thing you know, you're taking beach balls off of your lap because some kids are playing right next to you kind of thing. You go to a resort, which says, hey guys, this area, no beach balls. And you sit at this table and you have a little flag or a QR code nowadays that says, bring me a cocktail. Okay. Now you're doing the things that you want to do. Maybe the beach that you normally go to, you can't bring beverages with you. Whatever it is, you're providing a value proposition to your local audience that makes them be loyal to you because they get to enjoy what you are. So when they talk to their friends or their family, and nobody wants to live in a place they don't want to live in. So when they say, "Oh, where you're at?" "Oh, I live in Southwest Florida." "Oh, wow. Oh, the beaches are amazing. This and this." You sell why you're here. I'd love to come down. Well, where's some good places to go to? Well, you know what? I enjoy the heck out of Fort Myers Beach, Margaritaville. And I love their beach club. And if you make it down here, I say if you're not staying at the resort, which I highly recommend anyway, because I got a chance to enjoy all the stuff that they have, then you can stay in the area, or hey, you're going to crash with me if you have a good enough relationship. Crash with me, I'll give you the extra bedroom or whatever, or couch or whatever, and then we can go hit the resort. We can get a couple of day passes, okay? And we'll go hit the resort and be on the beach in front of there because man, their cocktails are to die for out of the La Di Da bar, and we get it. And where we're at is pristine in the center, and there's no clutter, and the chairs are spaced. No, whatever the reason is, you're now selling it. You're selling that, and it's like, you know what? I tell you what, I'll go stay at the resort. You come join me. There you go. That develops local referral business. You like to call it influencers. We used to call it referrals. It used to be the bread and butter of what we did. Still is. We've tried to modify it with bringing in people that have audiences and making them showcase us to their audiences in the hopes that we would garner additional business. And it works when well controlled and mitigated and directed. But referrals are such a strong component of it. There's a platform called Flip2. You've heard me say about this before. Ed being on the show. The referral value that these things create, the warm leads that it creates of, this is what I'm doing. Don't you want to do it too? This is where I'm staying. Don't you want to stay there too? This is what I can do when I'm here. Don't you want to do it too? That engagement of your friends and family is literally the ability to expand and grow geometrically your business of demand. Okay. You're creating a value proposition by these incremental relationships of daycation, staycations, Bleasure, these categorizations we've defined this way, as a means of incrementally, progressively developing a relationship without the flip of the switch of either they're a guest or they're not a guest. We do that inherently by the nature of our business, that when they stay with us, they're exposed to what we offer, good or bad. Okay. What they participating with us is their measurement of us. And we do that from our guests already. Okay. This allows us a different engagement, a progressive one, in the sense that maybe a daycation turns into a staycation turns into actual trip, or obviously if you're connected with other hotels and they realize that what you do and they enjoy is transferable or usable elsewhere, soft branding, hard branding, whatever, then now they figure, well, if I enjoy this much here and you're the same over there and I want to go there, that's where I want to stay. That crossover value demand is paramount to the relationships that these create, these progressive relationships that they create. I stayed there for a daycation, day pass, pool pass, whatever variations you want to call these things over the times that we've done it, resort pass, this taste of what we are. Okay. And actually, every experience I've had with it, it amplifies their perspective of us, like the desire to be with us at the resort. Because if it's this good just visiting it for the day, how good would it be where I didn't have to worry about leaving? That's what it usually creates. I was privileged to be a part of a conference a little over a week ago. And I talked about the history of me in the industry. And I used to love the joy of owning and running restaurants where I was able to give a good meal. And that good meal translated into, when I started getting into hotels, the ability to have a wonderful stay, to impact their experience more than just the meal that they had, but the progression of staying with us the entire time. And that's what you're doing in this progressive relationship. You're giving them a taste of how nice it is of what you do in a way that they want to come back and have more. And then from that, they want to share that experience with their friends and families. Like, oh man, I so loved going to the Fort Myers Beach Resort. I just enjoyed being able to I didn't have to lug anything. I just showed up. The towels were there, the umbrellas. I just hit the QR code. It's like margarita number 1, and out it came, and just enjoyed being there. That value. And it's like, I didn't have to be in a resort hotel, but man, how nice would it be that I don't have to worry about going home? If I just going home meant going and take the elevator home. That growth of relationship in offering these types of things made me put it into today's topic, rather than my modeling and simulation stuff, which, sexy as it sounds, as I said, we'll get to in another show. The idea of using these tools effectively as a means of expanding business, both whether you're the offerer or you're in a market that it's being offered in, and making that a value to you, to making your own version of it. All of these things have tangible value. We didn't get too much into the restaurant and spa in particulars as to the impact of these things, but they are just as profound because by getting people to come to the bar, because if I'm buying a Daycation pass to your resort, I want to experience it. Yes, I came for a purpose, whether it's the pool or the beach or the spa. Okay. But I want to enjoy everything. So even if you have your restaurant and bar available to the public, I could come anytime to those things. It takes on a different flavor when I'm there at a different level. Like I'm trying to be there. I'm just not showing up at the restaurant from the end of my day after work, but rather I'm in my bathing suit, flip flops, you know, really weird looking hat or something. Didn't want to create too much of a visual for you. And I plopped down to the bar as if this is where I belong, and enjoy it, or go to the restaurant on my own, convert to just grabbing something really yummy because I've already been there all day out at the beach, and I'm going to grab dinner before I go home, or lunch before I leave, or whatever. These things, or have it delivered to me when I'm sitting on the beach. These things take on a different value and a different meaning in the experience of a Daycation compared to just I'm a local and I want to go hit the restaurant tonight on my way home, or make a destination for myself, or stop by the bar because it's a cool bar and a great view and want to catch the sunset. And I'm being very typical of my Southwest Florida perspective, but you get the picture if you're in the mountains, you get the picture if you're in the plains, you get your picture if you're anywhere. The same reasons why you built the hotel and resort where it's at, for what you built it for, and who and the amenities you have for it, are the very purposes that these passes, these staycations, these Bleasure components, these tiered relationships can exist and thrive in support of expanding your marketing value. So there you have it. That's our discussion today in relationship to Daycations, staycations, Bleasure, the changing relationships of hospitality. I think we talked about the depth of values. We talked about the variations to it. I think we talked about the interest in it and the transitions of usages for it to a certain degree. Obviously, if you want to know more about it, you can always email me at lauren@hospitalitydigitalmarketing.com. I answer each and every email related to our shows, our podcasts, TV channel, radio station, all of those things, which we have all of. If you want to see any of our previous 472 other shows that we've done in our 11 years of doing this, you can go to hospitalitychannel.tv. It's like the I Love Lucy channel for us. It has all of our old shows, all of our old podcasts, looking up by data broadcast, topic, and or guest hosts that were involved. There's also, if you want to see our active TV channel on as an app, you can go to look for Hospitality Channel in Apple iOS and or Google Play. It's an app that goes to our TV channel. Our website link for that is talktravel.tv. Obviously on your TV channel, just whatever smart TV you're using, whether it's if you're using Apple TV, if you're using Google TV, the dongles and or the box, Roku sticker box, whatever, Amazon Fire Stick, whatever. Just simply go and look for Hospitality Channel. It's there, add it to your channel list, and you always will be able to see the show. On the free side, there's a pay gateway for additional hospitality industry content beyond that. Well worth it. Great content. Hope you enjoy that. Our TV channel does get broadcast in 209 countries. Our podcast goes to 39 countries, 36 channels, 39 countries. I flip-flop those sometimes, I forget. Anywho's, we're active on the podcast. Also, 11. Actually, it's been longer. We've had that for now 19 years that we've been doing the podcast, the audio podcast. A little shorter than this, more specific to tools and functions than it is topics and relatable services like we just did today. And of course, we simulcast our show always. We have the Hospitality Marketing Club. Sorry, if you are a person that's doing hospitality marketing and you want a peer group to engage with, that you can ask questions or just dialogue about current things and thought processes. Sometimes it comes up to the missing pieces and puzzles of things. You can go to hospitalitymarketing.club, put your email in. I send you a quiz to validate that you are a current hospitality marketing professional, not somebody that's going, like, oh, I want to learn that. We learn from it, but we're only looking at peers that are already doing it. If you pass the quiz, we send you a link. It's a closed group. It's not on Facebook or any of those. It's actually on its own platform where we have live weekly Q&A dialogues, live weekly conversations. We have a lot of fun dialogue. We have play dates. Literally, it's the topic scheduled play date where we talk about just where we're thinking things and seeing things and does that mean things and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun because you're talking to people where you don't have to preface the conversation or explain in such great detail as you would with people that don't do what we do. So it's a great peer group. Trying to think of anything else that we have about that. Obviously, we're simulcast on Facebook pages, LinkedIn platform, which is for my profile. They only allow the one. We're off of X, as I told you at the beginning of the show. We're on Twitch as a platform for media. YouTube channels, and we're a lot of association platforms, corporate platforms. People enjoy our content, so they're willing to allow us to connect with them and share our simulcast. Speaking of simulcast, Wednesday 11:30 a.m. we will always re-simulcast this show for all the time zones around the world that we hit. Even though, as I look at my operations board over here to my left, people will watch us live in the most amazing, bizarre time zones, where it's 2 a.m. their time and they're watching us live, which I find absolutely remarkable. And I always comment on it and say thank you for that. But we do simulcast or recast ourselves 11:30 a.m. Wednesday mornings, Sydney, Australian time for our APAC friends, and 11:30 a.m. London time Wednesdays for our EU and Mideast friends. So if you catch us on those ones, thank you so much for always scheduling or catching up with us later in the week for the recast. So with that, my name is Lauren Gray. I thank you for the privilege of your time and look forward to talking to you next week.